Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday to you guys. It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Got another great episode for you guys today, man. Hey, I came on a little early today. This is probably my new schedule. Hope you guys like it. But anyway, first things first, I got to talk about the Clippers, man. They traded away Rondo. They traded away Pat Beverly, all for Eric Bledsoe, who's returning to the Clippers, who he was drafted by. I have to kind of give you guys my thoughts on that as well. Also tonight, got to dive into the NFL. Of course, before we talk about the preseason games, I got to talk about Aaron Rodgers over the weekend. He's been out there on social media. He's looking to run one back one more time with a guy named by the name of Clay Matthews in the last dance for Aaron Rodgers in a Green Bay Packers uniform. And also tonight, I have to talk about the top 5 NFL rookie quarterbacks that started this weekend in the first week of preseason in the National Football League, and which direction those guys will be trending as we progress throughout the season. And finally tonight, is there trouble in Dallas with Dak Prescott? He's coming off the injury with the ankle. Now he's got a shoulder problem. So I don't know. A lot of people are skeptical. I'm still pretty calm right now. I'm not gonna overreact yet. We'll see. I think he'll be ready. But anyway, without further ado, man, hope you guys sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you guys are doing all right. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. It's Monday, so you know what that means. It's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Yeah, it's a little early. If you're looking at your clock, you're like, hey, it's kind of early, man. Yeah, I'm switching it up a little bit. Got some scheduling stuff going on, so I figured why not get on the air and just get my message out to you guys. But before I get the show started, man, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel at Clutch Sports Talk. Man, it's legit. I'm going to be working on some new stuff going on here, and also hit me up on all my social media platforms, which you see scrolling down below. And also a big shout out tonight, man, to my boy Delmore Zamora Jr., aka the War Machine. Winning his, I believe, his 6th. He's undefeated. I think it's his 6th fight. He can quote me if I'm wrong, but he's undefeated. He went down, handled his business in Wyoming, I believe it was. Took care of this guy. He's back home, hopefully safely. But shout out to him. Check him out, man. He's an up and coming fighter, man. Legit. A young guy too. So shout out to him and all the other guys from Pound for Pound Boxing who went down there and took care of their business. I'm actually wearing the shirt today. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, the War Machine. But yeah, anyway. So shout out to him. Big ups to the Zamora family. But anyway, man, I got a great show in store for you guys tonight. First things first, man, let's get into a little bit of NBA because obviously we know we got the Lakers situation going on in LA, but what about what's going across the locker room or across the hallway in the Clippers locker room? They just recently traded Rajon Rondo and Patrick Beverly to the Memphis Grizzlies for Eric Bledsoe. There was one other guy involved. I forgot the name of the guy, but the two key players coming out, leaving LA is Patrick Beverly and Rajon Rondo. They're heading off to Memphis. Eric Bledsoe heading back to LA where it all started for him. And it's going to be exciting, man. Shout out to All Even podcast with Barry Grant Jr., man. Hey, props out to him, man. Hey, he hit his 100th episode or working on his 100th episode, man. So make sure if you haven't checked him out, make sure you do that as well, man. Good guy, good individual, man. One of my good friends, that's crazy. In all this process of this whole creating a podcast, you meet some great guys out there. He's one of them out there as well. But yeah, so back on track. So if you look at it, this is just a salary dump for the most part. We don't expect Eric Bledsoe to help the Clippers tremendously. He's not. I mean, he's a guy that has become trade bait pretty much at this point in his career. He's an NBA player, of course. I'm not going to say he's garbage. He's not garbage, but is he going to help the Clippers? No, he's not. And them getting rid of Patrick Beverly and Rajon Rondo really isn't that groundbreaking as well, but I have to talk about it because it's coming out of LA. It's the LA market, and the Clippers are the next best team in LA in regards to basketball. So I had to talk about it briefly. And what does this mean for the Clippers? Really, it doesn't mean too much, to be honest with you. Like I said, this is more of a salary dump. I think they freed up like $30 million in cap space, if I'm mistaken. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that money. A lot of the big guys have been signed up already. They're not available. So not quite sure what the sentiments is with the Clippers. I mean, we know that Kawhi resigned. He's going to stay. Paul George, maybe Paul George gets moved. Who knows? Is Paul George on the chopping block? He might be. There's a good possibility. Maybe so. Maybe he doesn't fit well with Kawhi Leonard. But at the end of the day, again, this is all more financially driven. This has nothing to do with the competitiveness of this team, because Eric Bledsoe really is not going to help the Clippers that much. He's just really not. He hasn't helped a lot of teams that he's played with. He's just a strictly scorer. He's undersized. Not sure about his defensive ability. And I'm not sure how well he fits in what the Clippers want to do. But I know that the Clippers wanted to get rid of those 2 contracts with Rondo and Beverly, rightfully so. As far as Rajon Rondo's career is concerned, I think this is the 6th time he's been traded, or this is the 6th or 7th team he's been on. Should have stayed in LA the first time with the Lakers, but he went out, tried to get the bag, go with the Hawks. He ended up getting traded back to the Clippers. And Patrick Beverly, who really likes Patrick Beverly unless you're a Clipper fan? I mean, honestly, who cares? No one really cares about him. And honestly, they probably got rid of him because he's hurt a lot recently. And some of his antics. I mean, sometimes I feel like he forgets that he's playing basketball instead of just trying to get in the other player's head. And you saw what he did to Chris Paul at the end of their series between the Suns, going out and just pushing him in the back. Could have seriously injured the guy. And maybe ownership was like, you know what? He's not really working out for us. Let's just move on from this guy. And that's exactly what they did. So the Clippers, to me, didn't get any better. Did they get worse? Maybe, perhaps, I don't know, but they didn't get any better. So if you're a Clipper fan, you think this Eric Bledsoe deal was like game changing, you're sadly mistaken, because it wasn't. So anyway, moving on, a team that's I would say, they're in a precarious situation right now. You got your quarterback, who's the reigning NFL MVP. He's pretty much done. He's basically stated that on his first press conference in training camp when he came back. Didn't like the way the Packers management handled a lot of the player retention situations and scenarios that they had with a lot of their great players like a Randall Cobb, Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson, a lot of other guys that they just let walk, really, for the most part. Now, Aaron Rodgers is back because he's not going to get the hosting job for Jeopardy. They decided to move on with that, which we probably did. We all probably thought that wasn't really going to be something that he was going to do. But nonetheless, he's back on social media, posting, basically saying, hey, I need to do this one more time with my guy, Clay Matthews, and the Packers need to basically go out and sign him. Now, here's the facts. Clay Matthews, hell of a player, Hall of Famer for sure for my Fighting Trojans USC, but he's not the same guy anymore. He had a solid season in LA, his last season in the NFL with the Rams. I forgot how many sacks he racked up, but solid season considering, where he's at in his career. But sat out last year. No one picked him up. I don't think he wanted to sit out. There's just not really a market for him. And I think he's just not that same guy anymore. So for Aaron Rodgers wanting to bring back, guys like a Randall Cobb, who's hurt again, probably won't even see the first 2 weeks in the NFL season. And if he does, probably not going to be a big factor anyway in their offense because Randall Cobb is over the hill. So, and then he wants to get Clay Matthews. Aaron Rodgers, to me, I get it. He wants to get out, but you know what, man? Like he has no chill. I mean, he's becoming like a petulant child for the most part. Look, the Green Bay, for those of you who think that he won the battle between the Green Bay's management and himself, he didn't. Because look, at the end of the day, he's still stuck there for at least one more year. Anything can happen. He can get hurt, whatever, but he's still there. And then they don't have to even trade him. Now, there's talks that there was a discussion made, and after the season's over, he's going to be traded to where he wants to go. We'll see how that goes. If it wasn't written on paper, if it's not in anywhere in black and white, to me, it never happened. And we all know, for those who follow the NFL, verbal agreements do not mean anything, okay? It doesn't mean anything. So if it's not written down somewhere, the Packers potentially could still keep him there if they want to. I doubt that because I think they want to be done with him. I think, honestly, they should have probably just moved on for them. I mean, just from the jump, but they probably didn't want to give him what he really wanted. So they're making him stay in there one last season. And it's he has to do well because a lot of people going into last season they kind of had some doubt on Aaron Rodgers, including myself. A lot of people didn't think that he can still do it. And he came out and shocked the world, and not even shocked the world, but he was the NFL MVP. He has to do it again because at the end of the day, if he falters and has a terrible season, maybe the market might be low for him, and then he might say, you know what, I might end up having to stay in Green Bay because who's going to want him? He's almost 40, close to 40, if not at least his late 30s. Still has some injuries that he has to kind of go through. I mean, he played a good season last year. He was the NFL MVP, but at the end of the day, the Green Bay Packers did not succumb to the pressure. Which is, and by all accounts, most NBA teams would have been traded him already. But the NFL is a little different. The Packers say, hey, look, dude, you're under contract. We don't need to trade you. We can keep you for one more year, and it's up to you if you want to play or not. If not, we're going to play Jordan Love, and they threw him in last night. Looked pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't say he's going to beat out Aaron Rodgers, but I mean, hey, it's a preseason game. Not a lot going on. I mean, they probably didn't have a full plethora of plays and play calls for him. But from what I saw, it wasn't groundbreaking. He didn't completely suck altogether. But, kudos to the Green Bay Packers, because a guy like Aaron Rodgers, to me, man, he just gets on my nerves a lot of the time. And my boy, All Even says, Aaron won the negotiation, offered him a deal to make the. Nah, I don't think that's a win. I don't think that's a win because guess what? He still has to play out the season. And if he completely bombs and doesn't, or hell, what if he gets hurt and can't even play in the NFL anymore? The money means nothing to a guy like this point. He wants to show that he is still the man, and he still has another year to prove that, regardless of him winning the NFL MVP. So I think in regards to who won the negotiation, okay, if you want to be fair, maybe they were at a standstill because at the end of the day, he's still going to suit up for the Green Bay Packers this year when he didn't have to. If he wanted to just be done, if he walked off and pulled a walk away or just walked off, then I would say he won because guess what? They don't have his services anymore and they're stuck. But guess what? They have a full season now to figure out what they want to do in order to prepare for next year. And they're hoping that he probably sucks. And if he sucks, good for the Green Bay Packers because you know what? Then they'll win. But if you're a Packers fan, you don't want to hear that. You want to win Lombardis. You want to win competitively, in the playoffs. You want to be the best team that you can. And I still think they can be one of the best teams, but the NFC is still wide open. But anyway, he's looking to bring Clay Matthews back. It's not going to happen. Okay. Nobody wants Clay Matthews anymore. He needs to just, go ahead, hang him up. Great player, Hall of Famer, edge rusher. The story from him, look it up, whatever it is. But he's not going to be that guy that's going to come back to Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers, sit tight, bro. Just sit tight and make sure you're ready to go week 1 when you guys line up. Okay. All right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. Obviously, we are all excited about the 5 NFL quarterbacks that were taken in this last draft. Now, this is one of the most anticipated preseasons that I can remember. I can't remember any preseason, honestly, being this, like, I was waiting for. I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for myself, I couldn't wait to see these guys take the field this past weekend, and they sure did. It started Thursday night with Mac Jones playing for the Patriots against the Washington football team. And before I talk about all of them, I will say this: it was the preseason, people. We're not going to declare any one of these guys yet Hall of Famers. Now, there are some fan pages, there are some social media platforms, and some other pages that have been like, oh, this guy is the legit. He is this, he's that. Let's just be real. If you don't know football, especially NFL football in preseason, majority of the defenses do not run anything complicated. They're basically just trying to keep everything under them, not get beat over top. They're just trying to see guys, give their players some legs, test out the new rookies, have these other guys compete for spots on the field, on the team. They're in a base defense. And what I mean by base defense, it's a normal vanilla defense, matchup on matchup, nothing crazy. And what you notice with a lot of these guys, especially the 5 quarterbacks that took snaps, the rookie guys, a lot of the stuff was underneath, man. A lot of stuff was checkdowns to your running back, check down to a tight end in the flat, things of that nature. Now, every now and then they did mix it up and they took some shots down the field. We saw that with Trey Lance. I think he had like a bootleg or play action fake. He threw the ball deep. He got a score off of it. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence. We saw the arm. Mac Jones tried to push the ball down on the field a little bit. Zach Wilson as well. But for the most part, we didn't see anything different, I would say. Everything that I saw on from Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday is stuff that I already knew about these guys for the most part. But I was still excited to see them in their new team, in their new surroundings. And so as far as what direction these guys are going to be taking, well, let's just jump into that. First, let's start with Mac Jones because he started off the weekend, with the Thursday night game. He is in a prime position. Now, going into the draft, I did not think he was better than Trey Lance or Justin Fields or even Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence for sure. Now, where he was drafted at, I'm okay with that. That's a good value pick because the Patriots didn't have to do much for him. They didn't have to trade up. He fell to them, right? And they needed a quarterback, right? With Tom Brady gone, Cam Newton's kind of like on this 1-year rental type of deal. He's a mercenary at this point. And then now you're going into a franchise which was very active in free agency. They bolstered their offense. They got some more weapons. Now Hunter Henry is going to be out for some couple weeks. He still got Jonnu Smith and some other guys that you got in free agency, like a Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, if I'm not mistaken, from the 49ers. So guys that can stretch the field, right? Your defense, you're going to get some guys back that didn't play last year because of COVID. And you still have the Hall of Fame coach in Bill Belichick. So this is what I think about Mac Jones and his direction moving forward, just into the season. Eventually, this is what's going to happen. Cam Newton is not the playmaker he once was. He hasn't been that guy since, I don't know, the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, is that fair to say? I would assume so. He is not going to play the full season. There's going to be a point in time where Jason Stidham, I don't think Mac Jones will beat Jason Stidham out. I think Mac Jones will probably be QB2 going into the season. And for sure, Mac Jones will get an NFL start sometime. And not only is he going to get a start, guess what? You're going to play in a division against the Jets. You're going to probably go 2-0 against them. And you might split against the Dolphins, depending on how Tua plays. Now, the Bills might be a different scenario, but I think the Patriots are well coached. And I think they can probably split with the Bills as well. So here's the thing. Mac Jones can easily win 7, 8, 9 games this NFL season. Maybe, right? I'm still high on the Patriots. I still think that they're going to be solid. They're going to be a lot better than what people think. And Mac Jones, to me, what I saw the other night was he gets the ball out quickly, which is good for a young quarterback. Doesn't sit down, doesn't hold the ball, gets it out. He's very direct on where he wants to go. So those are two things that I like about him going into the draft, and that we saw a lot when he played at Alabama. All right, so I think he has a good. His ceiling isn't high, but he might be one of those quarterbacks that will have some success just because of where you landed at. And honestly, that's what it boils down to a lot of these times is where do you go, right? Where do you go? Because at the end of the day, these are 5 quarterbacks. Statistically, we know that not all these guys are going to be legit. They just can't be. You might get one guy that's legit, maybe 2, and the second guy might just be a journeyman. Who knows, right? All right. So what I'll say is it all depends on where you get picked up at. And he landed in a pretty good situation where you got a Hall of Famer coach, well-run organization. They did pick up some weapons. And you know what? You're going to get a chance to start eventually, so you don't have to hurry up and learn everything because Cam Newton's going to be there for a little bit, right? All right, good. Next guy I want to talk about, Zach Wilson, going to stay in the NFC East. Now, he's up against it. Now, they got a new coach in Greg Sala, defensive guy. They didn't really address their offensive needs per se. They did get some guys that might turn out to be pretty solid. I would say their O-line, they invested some picks in there last year and this year as well. So, but they are still the Jets. Now, the Jets I feel like will be better, but Zach Wilson will be basically the catalyst into how successful they will be. Will he be the guy to carry them? Now, like again, it's not a great organization. At least they haven't been ran well, in quite some time, right? Not since, I don't even know, right? Since the Parcells days, right? So he's going up against a lot, man. And it's hard. It's hard when you have to deal with the stuff on the field and the stuff off the field, especially when you're management. Look how long they had Adam Gase there for a long time. He kind of just sent the organization, he sent them back another 10 years, right? So now it's up to Greg Sala to kind of redirect that. And hopefully Zach Wilson can do that. Now, what I saw from him again, he's got a great arm. We can see that. He can move without the pocket, move out in and out of the pocket. He's got a cannon, and the kid can sling it. There were some plays where I thought were questionable in his decision-making, but he's an NFL rookie, and he hasn't seen a lot yet, right? The game is a lot faster, but I will say that he probably will not be that successful in New York, unfortunately. And I have a cousin that's a Jet fan. He's probably not going to want to hear that, but unfortunately, he may not be that successful just because of all the stuff he has to overcome. I think they'll be better, but they're still dysfunctional at the end of the day. Next guy I want to talk about, Trevor Lawrence, another guy who is in another situation where he has to be the guy day one, because him and Zach Wilson, they share this fact that they're going to be starters day one. Trevor Lawrence is going to beat our Gardner Minshew. Okay, he's gonna. Now I know Gardner Minshew has been working his butt off, but at the end of the day, it's Trevor Lawrence, his number one pick. The Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, wants to put him in there. Shad Khan is a prudent businessman. All right. He don't care about Gardner Minshew if he's been working hard in his Instagram or TikTok, whatever the hell he's been doing. He wants to put butts in the seats, and in order to do so, you got to put the number 1 overall pick in there. That's why you get a guy like, the head coach Urban Meyer that you hired. He gets Trevor Lawrence. You get guys like Travis Etienne. You want to put butts in the seats. Trevor Lawrence is going to do that. Now, he got sacked on his first play from the line of scrimmage on Saturday, but for the most part, again, another guy, we can see him throw the ball beautifully down the field. We won't know a lot about these guys until week 1, until they get their starts, unfortunately. But again, Trevor Lawrence he has an uphill battle because the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, another dysfunctional team. And people are like, well, how do you say they're dysfunctional? They were just in the AFC Conference Championship game like 3-4 years ago. Yeah, it was almost like a fluke. It was like a perfect storm, right? And we saw what happened to them in the AFC Championship game. They just got, they blew it. And then the next year, they didn't make the playoffs. So this franchise is in search of something. Now, do I think they'll win some games? They'll be in a lot of games because I think they do have some talent. But I don't know if they're going to ever get it going, because will they get the right guys to go to Jacksonville? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But just going into next season, Trevor Lawrence is not really in a position to really take that next step like the other guy that I'm going to mention, which is Trey Lance. Trey Lance definitely has an opportunity to take a Super Bowl caliber team, as long as he doesn't screw it up, and take them back to the Super Bowl or compete for a Lombardi trophy. And because here's the thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. So Garoppolo's going to start. If you're a GM or you're a coach of a national football team or any football team, right? You got a veteran who's been around, he knows the ropes. You got a young guy who's definitely more athletic, has a higher ceiling than the guy that's starting, but the guy that's starting, the veteran, has way more experience than the new guy. And when you got a team like the 49ers, whose defense is going to be ridiculous, right? Offense isn't bad. They got George Kittle. They still have their running backs. They can still run the ball, the scheming. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers in the National Football League. Why not? But Jimmy Garoppolo, we know about this, is fragile, and he turns the ball over a lot. Now, there's going to be a point in the season where Jimmy Garoppolo is either going to get hurt, right? Or he's going to turn the ball over a lot, and Trey Lance is going to get his shot. Jimmy Garoppolo, to me, is the Carson Wentz of the West. Now, he has missed a lot of time in the last couple of years, and his turnovers, they combine for this perfect storm where Trey Lance, as long as he comes in, hands the ball off, Kyle Shanahan will basically conform the offense around him, because Trey Lance can run. They can move the pocket a lot better with Trey Lance than they can with Jimmy Garoppolo. And we saw that the other night when he threw that touchdown pass. I think Trey Lance has an opportunity to come into San Francisco. Granted, it is a tough division. You have a lot of great defenses in that division. You got themselves, you got the Rams, the Seahawks defense is pretty solid once they figure it out and get their heads out of their butt. And also, Arizona Cardinals defense has a pretty solid stout pass rush, which we're going to see with Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. So, and then also, they have really solid quarterbacks in that division. Russell Wilson, obviously, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford's there now. So guess what? They have to compete on all fronts, and I think Trey Lance gives them that opportunity, gives them that advantage to kind of use his athleticism in order to win a lot of football games in the National Football League, especially in year one, because they don't have a lot of tape on this guy. So, and lastly, the last guy who I think, who deserves to start off the bat and should probably start is Justin Fields. Now, I watched that Chicago Bears game the other day, and literally, Andy Dalton should not be the starter. Coach Nagy there in Chicago, he'll never see this, but if you ever were to see this, man, just start Justin Fields. You drafted him, you moved up to get him in the 8th spot, I believe. You got to play the guy because he's on a short leash. He may not even be there by Thanksgiving if the Bears start fluttering out of the gates immediately. So, and the reason why I say you got to start Justin Fields is because Andy Dalton is a backup quarterback at this point. Your offensive line is a shambles. They suck. They should be better because you're practicing against one of the number 1 D lines in all the National Football League, but they're not. They still suck. They can't protect this guy. You saw a lot. I think he rushed for like 50-something yards the other day. That's not something you really want him to do, but he's capable of doing it. Now, he does stare down quarterbacks quite a bit, his targets quite a bit still on a couple of throws, especially the slants. If you're a cornerback and you're a safety and you want to see that, just watch his eyes. He has to work on that. But playmaking ability, again, like a guy like Trey Lance, that extra playmaking ability kind of puts you above a lot of other quarterbacks. Because if it's that close, right? If you're saying that Andy Dalton is good, right? And Justin Fields isn't that far off, you might as well just go with Justin Fields, man, because you might not even be there by the end of the season. So go with the guy that you drafted and see what he's got. He's going to probably bring some magic to that offense because at the end of the day, listen, the Bears offense, it's not that dynamic. Outside of Allen Robinson, they got, some good running backs in Montgomery and Cohen, but, you know, that's pretty much it. Where's the other playmakers going to come from? And what I saw the other day when they played the Dolphins, now the Dolphins secondary is legit. I did not see a lot of separation from those Chicago Bears wide receivers. So Justin Fields, he can scramble around, move around in the pocket, buy some time, get some guys open. Andy Dalton's a statue back there. So, and don't even bother with Nick Foles. He's done too. So you probably should have moved off for him, traded one of those guys away, and you keep either Andy Dalton or Nick Foles, but Justin Fields needs to be the starter day one. So as far as next season is concerned, the direction of the guys, I pretty much laid it out there. I think the guy that will play a lot, number one, is Justin Fields, and he should play. He should and have meaningful minutes. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is going to start eventually, but he might get pulled a lot. Zach Wilson is going to play. But all of these guys, they all have different paths that they're going to take. It just, like I said at the top of the segment, it just depends on where you get drafted. I mean, really, will we have Patrick Mahomes if he goes to, I don't know, the Jets or the Houston Texans or the Bears, right? So we don't know. But luckily, he lands in Kansas City with who? Andy Reid, who's been known to work well and have dynamic offenses with great quarterbacks, with Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick. We've seen this from him, right? So it all depends on where you go. Now, is Patrick Mahomes, is he a talent? Yeah, he's a talent. He probably would have been solid anywhere, but would he be the same guy we know today if he goes somewhere else, like the Raiders or anything like that, right? So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, man. Me personally, if I had to pick who's going to have the most success next season, not necessarily winning, Rookie of the Year. I think Justin Fields is going to get a legit chance, man. I think he's going to get a legitimate chance early, to play there in Chicago, because I think the fans there, they want to see him. They don't want to see Andy Dalton. Nobody wants to see. No one pays money to see Andy Dalton. They want to see Justin Fields. So I think Coach Nagy, get him in there, and you're going to be all right. And we'll see what happens. And your defense will keep you in a lot of games. And hopefully, he doesn't stink it up, and they're going to be all right. Which I think at the end of the day they will be all right. I think that they will be all right. But who knows? That's why we got the season to play out. All right. Sticking on quarterbacks. Last segment of tonight, man. What is going on in Dallas, man? What is going on? The hard knocks is on right now. The Cowboys are being featured on there. It's being their chronicle in their off season or their training camp. We saw what's going on with Dak Prescott with his ankle, the second surgery that no one knew about, and now he's got this shoulder problem. This shoulder problem that required the medical staff from the Dallas Cowboys to seek outside help from the New York Yankees and Texas Rangers medical staff in regards to this weird, funky shoulder strain under his shoulder, which is, I guess, typically, supposedly this is a baseball injury. So I don't know. Now I've been watching TV all day, as far as sports is concerned, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, they're hiding something. They're hiding something." Look, man, I really think it's really nothing. I think that he'll be ready to go. If Dak says he'll be ready to go, he'll be ready to go. Now, how much time does he need to get back into the swing of things? I mean, he hasn't thrown the ball a lot, I guess, because he's been out, obviously with the ankle injury, now the shoulder injury. But I'd rather him rest it now, because let's just be real. He wouldn't have played anyway in that Hall of Fame game. Okay. No one ever does, right? He might have got a series in this last game against Arizona. And then honestly, this last preseason game would have been the dress rehearsal. Now, I think he's coming back to practice this week, and he's hoping to maybe get cleared to play. And if he does, great. But everybody that's on TV, other fans, just relax. The guy will be fine. He is a fighter. One thing I've learned and I've come to document about Dak Prescott is that he is a fighter, man. When the odds are stacked up against him, this guy succeeds, man. I always tell people when I talk about Dak Prescott, go on YouTube. There's a documentary on him. I forgot what it's called, but if you just type in Dak Prescott documentary, it talks about his life story, how he made it even to Mississippi State, how he wanted so bad to go to LSU. They didn't even invite him to a camp, and he's from the state of Louisiana, right? goes to Mississippi State, balls out, gives that university their greatest season in college football history, right? I think they were ranked number 1 at one point, right? And he gets drafted in the 4th round by the Cowboys. Romo should be the starter. Romo goes out with a back injury. He steps in, leads the Dallas Cowboys to arguably one of the greatest seasons that they've ever had outside of winning a Super Bowl, but one of the most exciting seasons for a rookie quarterback, one of the most impressive rookie seasons as a quarterback, as a 4th rounder. The whole money situation, then the ankle thing, then the money, and now we got the shoulder. The guy's going to be all right. I don't think there's you can't panic in situations like this. And that's what the media is for. That's what fans are for. But I think inside the confines at the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas, they know what's going on. And I think that medical staff has been there, at least the head trainer has been there, at least 20 something years. I remember him when I was working there, and I worked for the Cowboys. It's almost been 10 years since I worked for them. And that guy was there then. Okay. So he's been there at least 20, 30 years. Never met the man, but a guy like that, you stay in a field like that, you got to know something about something. You've seen a lot of injuries. I think everything's going to be all right. And to get the second MRI, a lot of people are like, oh my God, he's getting another MRI. It's okay. It's all right. If you want to double check, make sure everything is healing properly. And that's exactly what the MRI showed, that it's healing properly, and he should be good to go. At the end of the day, does he time with his receiver? Yeah, but look, he's an NFL quarterback. I think they're going to be all right. And I think the Cowboys are going to shock the world September 9th. And I really believe that. And I'm saying that now, August 16th on the Clutch Sports Talk live show with Ryan Flowers. The Cowboys will shock the world September 9th, and they will have a good showing, and they will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just got a good feeling. I know the Buccaneers are a good team, but you come off that Super Bowl, man, you don't have that same drive. But I don't think there's a big problem in Dallas. I think Dak Prescott will be fine. If anything, Zeke looks like he's in good shape, and they can maybe rely on him a little bit to run the ball. And Dak said that recently. He's not trying to throw, 40 times a game. He wants to hand the ball off too. So as long as Zeke shows up, he looks like he's in decent shape. He looks a lot leaner and thinner than he was the last couple of seasons. He looks like a young Zeke, right? Maybe, hopefully that translates onto the field, but there's no problem in Dallas. I think the biggest problem that I have in Dallas is that the fact that Jerry Jones is putting salt on a McGriddle type sandwich. Like, that's a problem. If we need to worry about anything in this world, it's that. Because why would you do that? It's already a sweet and salty, savory type of breakfast sandwich. Why do you need to add salt? But that's the only problem I got in Dallas, to be honest with you. But anyway, so Cowboys fans, relax. We still got time. Dak Prescott, number 4, will be ready to go, and the Cowboys will have a successful season led by him. And I believe that with all my heart, that he will have a good season. So, but yeah, that's all I got, man. That's all I got for tonight, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys can catch me next week Monday. I'm only gonna go once a week now. So, but catch me next week live Monday, probably around the same time. I'm gonna bump everything up early, but I hope you guys continue to share and like my content. Check me out on YouTube as well. I'm gonna be working on some stuff. I'm still trying to work out some kinks. I'm trying to get some new content for you guys to enjoy. But make sure you guys head over to YouTube right now. Hit that subscribe button and notifications link so let you know when everything Clutch Sports comes on. You guys got it. So other than that, I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy life, man, and be safe. So until next time, this is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Peace out, guys.